All right, I'm here with Dan Hand. He is running for Region 9 Director. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Dan.
So, my name is Dan Hand. I have worked at Mack trucks as a proud UAW member for almost 28 years. I started out on the shop floor working production and then wound up bidding to different jobs throughout my time there. I was elected as a committee person. I was also elected as alternate shop chair, negotiator, member at large. I'm also on the CAP committee, and I was also on the education committee a while back, and I was also multiple terms as a member of the bylaws committee for both the unit and the amalgamated.
All right, so what makes you want to run for Region 9? What are some of the issues you see? Some of the changes you'd like to make?
So some things that I've noticed were both as a representative and as a member. One of the things that I really noticed as far as membership, or as far as an elected official, was the membership was not getting responses back from the region. We had probably one time, I believe it was, that we had a grievance proceeding from the regional level in about 2 years. And that's a big problem, because if you don't have grievances that are heard in a timely fashion, you could possibly lose grievances, which would be a detriment to the membership.
What are some current concerns you have about how the IEB operates, and how would you navigate some of those as Region 9 Director?
Talking to a lot of people at my local and even at other locals, is they don't feel that the IEB listens to the membership. As a director, I would have a seat on the IEB, and I would be able to make sure that the IEB is focusing, or at least do my part in making sure that the IEB is focusing on the membership's needs and their concerns.
So the Region 9A, Region 9 merger, or lack thereof, what was your position on that?
So when I heard about that, I was very concerned, because what they had the potential of doing was taking away the membership's voice on the IEB. I was against the way it was potentially going to be done as well. Now, there's a couple different ways that it can be done constitutionally, and if anything of that magnitude is ever done, it should be done with the membership's voice. At a national convention, or the Constitutional Convention, which is done with all the delegates nationally. As far as the way that it was going to potentially happen with an IEB vote, I was very much against that, and I did my best to make that heard among the membership to be able to have the IEB contacted.
So Region 9, lots of retirees. What are your plans to keep them engaged and have their decisions respected?
So as far as retirees go, some people aren't aware that when you come to negotiations in regards to retirees, that they are a permissive subject of bargaining, which means that you can't really, there's no way that you can strike on a subject regarding retirees. But you need to also make sure, on the other hand, is that if a company wants to take something away from retirees, we have the same right not to let them do that. It's a permissive subject to bargaining. So we need to make sure that whatever retirees currently have, that they don't lose. We also need to make sure that with them being at the stage that they are in life, they need as much help as possible. So whether it be lobbying to be able to get tax breaks for them, or anything that's going to help benefit them, that's where they're going to need the help the most. And whatever help that the region can provide, whether it be through talking to representatives, that's something that needs to be done.
Okay, so we hear your plan for the retirees. What are your plans to keep the members engaged, and how would you implement those plans across the region?
Being at Mack for a long time, I realized how much lack of communication was an issue. And that's one thing that I made a focus on when I was acting shop chair, because I was actually acting shop chair for throughout my term for at least a year because of issues that we had on the local level. When I was acting shop chair, I started a newsletter, and it's actually carried through with the current shop chair. But I realized how much people wanted to hear what was going on. I mean, they might not like what they hear, but because of the fact that they're able to hear something and get good information and correct information, that's big. That's something that the membership need. And it's something that I've always made sure that whenever I've been able to try to help, I've done whatever I can. I even currently right now go on and try to help people out, even though I'm not currently a committee person.
Gotcha. So you mentioned, about communicating with people with information you don't necessarily want. How do you handle that when you're at odds with a member or another elected official? How do you handle that when you're not seeing eye to eye?
So I realize people don't see eye to eye all the time, but as an elected official, it would be my job to make sure that they have equal representation, regardless of how I feel about them, how they feel about me. They need the same kind of representation as anybody else, and that's important because every member deserves representation.
Gotcha. So Region 9 is pretty diversified. You have higher ed, casinos, manufacturing, legal. What do you think some of the challenges will be addressing some of the issues that all these different sectors are having?
Well, one of the first things I would need to do as a director is to meet with the leadership and the servicing reps for the different sectors, find out what the needs actually are, and then focus on trying to get those concerns addressed. I'd have to meet with the leadership and basically go forward from there.
Okay, earlier you mentioned about lobbying. You've lobbied on both state and federal levels. What did those experiences teach you? What kind of powers can lobbying bring for a union?
I found out how much power the UAW has on both the state and the local level. On the state level, we were able to get a bill presented for Buy American, Buy Union. That was pretty big. I was on the actual lobbying team that got that presented for the state of Pennsylvania. On the federal level, we currently are having an issue at Mack where they built a plant in Mexico. And with the lobbying that we have done collectively, we were able to get them to put heavy tariffs on heavy trucks. And I understand people are back and forth as far as whether tariffs are good or not. One of the main focuses that I have is I don't care what party you're from. If you're going to support labor, you're the person I'm going to talk to. You're going to be the person that's going to be able to help us out. And that's the biggest thing. We need to have as much help as we can on both the state and federal levels that are going to benefit us and labor.
Right. So what issues have you observed with elected positions? How would you address them as the director of Region 9?
As far as elected positions, we need to make sure that the elected positions are accountable. I mean, it's our job as elected officers to do what's right by the membership. And that's one thing that I'm going to make sure that I do if I'm elected is make sure everybody's accountable. Because you wind up running into problems where you wind up having monitor oversight. Now, being on the International Executive Board, you're going to be able to be there to be a voice for the membership rather than having them doing whatever they feel is in the best interest. By having somebody that's grounded and understands where the membership's coming from and what their concerns are.
So you just touched on that. You're going to be the voice for the membership. What's Dan Hand's view of Region 9, and how is that different from what we've seen in years past?
I don't think that we've had a lot of engagement with the region. I mean, for the longest time, I've heard of people from the region, never really interacted with them. And I noticed as an elected official, being able to talk to the region was very difficult. You might get a text back. rarely get a call back. I've even reached out to the region and didn't hear anything. That's got to stop. If somebody needs something from the region, they should be able to reach out and get a response, whether it be by me, servicing a rep, whoever the case is. The membership are the ones that matter, and they need to make sure that they have a representative that's going to listen to them and work for them rather than against them.
So Region 9, huge geographic area. Are you planning on considering Amherst, New York, the home base for you?
I honestly can't answer that. I'm going to need to find out as one of the very first things that I do as far as where I'd be needed the most. I'm not somebody that's going to be working behind a desk. I'm going to be working on the ground with a membership for their best interest. So I'm going to have to meet with the leadership as well as the servicing reps to find out where my focus would need to be. And that's where I'm going to be.
All right, so last question, we'll wrap this up. What are some of the attributes you would like the membership to see in your candidacy? What are some of the things that you would like them to know about Dan Hand and who he is?
I know people here that people that are trying to get elected talk about transparency. But if you talk to the majority of the people at Mack, they're going to say that I've been transparent. Communication, I'm huge on communication. That's one thing that the majority of the people at Mack will be able to tell you is how much I value being able to communicate, giving out information. I have experience. I've led Mack, which is a pretty large local as far as for the shop level, and just do my best for the membership because I know how much it felt not having representation. So when I became an elected official, I put my best effort forward to make sure that I was able to represent everybody equally and to the best of my ability.
All right. Well, I think that covers about everything, Dan. I wish you the best of luck. Okay?
All right.
Good luck on your Region 9 quest.
All right, thank you.